Barbados is where India play Afghanistan. The game against Bangladesh possibly could be in Antigua at North Sound, and then India's game against Australia is in Gros Islet. So that's the money match, is it?
Yes.
India, Australia, I mean.
Yeah, that's going to be the match of the tournament. I know we eagerly anticipate India playing Pakistan for various reasons, but India, Australia. Now, if you want to see quality cricket, high-class T20 cricket, champion teams clashing, this is the one to watch because Australia is looking ominous. India, tough challenges that they had in New York have come through admirably. And India have their own match winners as well. India, I keep saying this tournament have the best bowler in the world and the best batter in the world in Surya Kumar Yadav. So this is going to be a clash to watch. Will be a kind of a revenge game as well for India after what happened in Ahmedabad in the 50 overs World Cup. So really looking forward to this one.
Sunny, once again, and it's been an overdose, and just keep it coming because India, Australia, no matter what the format, we saw that in the final of the World Test Championship, the heartbreak of the ODI World Cup, but once again, the Mitchell Starks, the Pat Cummins up against that Indian lineup. That's the best contest, and like he said, it's got to be the match of the tournament right now.
It certainly is shaping up to be that because it could be a make or break tournament match because that will decide who will be number one, number two in that group to qualify for the semi-finals. So yes, this will be a match worth going miles to see. Tremendous players in both the teams, great players who can turn the game on its head. Glenn Maxwell hasn't quite fired, Kohli hasn't quite fired. So these batters fire, then we could have a real cracker of a game on our hands.
Somehow, I see Indian batters actually doing well against the Australian attack because that's the kind of attack they like. Virat loves batting against Australia, whether it's test matches, any other format. Rohit Sharma as well. Guys coming hard at him with pace and bounce. And the spin, Adam Zampa, I think they'll manage. Maxwell is bowling a bit. Ashton Agar hasn't played. So, yeah, the WWE seam of Stoinis might create a bit of trouble. In fact, when you look at the Afghanistan seam attack with Fazal Faruqi, and Nabinul Haq, those are the kind of pace bowlers that bother the top order Indian batting, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. So I see Indian batters doing really well against the Australian bowling attack. It's the Australian batting that is going to be something that India will have to
Interesting you
control.
speak about the Australian batting because coming into this tournament, there was a huge question mark whether David Warner warranted a place in that side, especially with the kind of player that they left out in the reserves, Jake Fraser-McGurk. But Sunny, David Warner seems to have changed his gears. He's the one who's the aggressor, and sometimes he's even overshadowed Travis Head at the top of the order. Final swan song for David Warner. Is he going to be a prize wicket for the Indians?
Every time. He's the kind of player who can, make a difference. He's the kind of player who can get the team off to a flying start. So getting him out, also because he's a left-hander. And bowlers have to keep on shifting their lines and lengths when you're bowling to right-handers and left-handers. And in the T20 game or the white ball game, a little bit wide and you're called a wide, extra delivery has to be bowled. So clearly I think David Warner's wicket is the one that the Indians will be looking to get. Jasprit Bumrah bowls really well to the left-handers. Hopefully he'll get Warner sooner than later.
The thing to like about Australia, even when they got that 200 score, one of the rare scores of over 200, the highest score was 39.
Yeah. None of them
and that
50s.
is what makes their batting so dangerous because the batting lineup is filled with batters who are selfless. They don't worry about getting out. They're not in there to play the long innings. So when you look at David Warner, the way he's playing, he doesn't play like this in the IPL. He tends to play longer rather than quicker. But here for Australia, he's trying to give them a flying start. Travis Head has been brilliant. Mitchell Marsh, and then down the order you've got people like Tim David. Marcus Stoinis has had a great tournament with bat and ball. If Maxwell fires, it's a bonus, but it's a team that has some real power in their batting lineup, plus a lot of bowling options if things go wrong, because most of their batters can bowl as well.
Now, Sunny, this game has been abandoned against Canada, and that's the end of the American leg for Team India. Now it's a completely different set of conditions when you get to the Caribbean, which means what Rohit Sharma had said when the Indian team was first selected for this World Cup. You are going to play horses for courses, which puts into the discussion the changes that you will have to make. So considering the last 11 that India fielded in the game against the United States, what are the changes that Rohit and Rahul would be making?
Well, they might not make any change because this has worked for them. I think the question mark was perhaps against Shivam Dube, but he batted well. He showed good determination. He wasn't striking the ball straight away. But he bided his time and then struck the ball. So that was the only place which was in question. So they might not make any changes. If at all they've got to make a change, they might probably drop one of the seam bowlers and bring in Kuldeep Yadav. So they have 3 spinners in their 11, the 2 left-handers, Jadeja and Akshar Patel, and the 3rd left-hander in Kuldeep Yadav. That could be the only change that I foresee in the first game.
That's the playing 11, the one that took the field against United States. So Sunny wants Kuldeep coming in for one of the pacers. Are you also on
He's saying maybe that could happen, but considering the first match is Afghanistan, whether you want to give them more of the seam that India have been offering to the opposition and continue to back your in-form seam bowlers, it will also depend on the kind of pitch that you have. If it's a small ground, then Kuldeep Yadav, despite his brilliance, there can be 1 over of 18 runs. And it's not a reflection on Kuldeep Yadav or whether he's bowled good balls or bad balls, and that becomes like a huge over. So India might still want to stick to seam bowling, which has been effective, wicket-taking, economical as well.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's another game, and that could decide the fate of the defending champions as well. Not just this game, but also the game in the morning tomorrow, Indian Standard Time. Australia will be taking on Scotland tomorrow at 6 a.m. in the morning, but right now, in about, an hour and 15 minutes, England will play Namibia, and we'll see the first ball. Now, England, the net run rate skyrocketed after that victory over Oman, where they just had to chase down 47. They managed to do it in the 4th over itself. But England need those 2 points because Scotland right now have got 5. They got a great net run rate as well. Will England, for a second, be a little tentative, or are they going to come out all guns blazing against Namibia?
The only thing to be tentative about is, I guess, the weather. They'll be hoping that there is no scenario like we had in Florida, which means the points get divided and then you're equal with Scotland. They had already won, that kind of a game where they shared points. And if England don't make it, it will be a travesty, because you want to see a quality team in the Super Race, plus the fact that, like Pakistan or New Zealand, England haven't played badly. They've lost 1 game to the best team in the tournament, and apart from that, there's been that washout, so it's just been 1 defeat, and if there's another weather situation, that will be really unfair, because this is a team you want to see playing in the Super Race, because this is another, very high-quality team to watch.
Sunny, now England are up against Namibia and Australia take on Scotland later, but just that England team, the way they went about the job against Oman, and they're looking very good on paper, but what happened to Pakistan without a ball being bowled in that US-Ireland game? Pakistan had to bow out of the tournament because US got that 1 point because of the washout. If this game gets washed out, Scotland will go on to play the Super 8s, and if you're England, you're going to be absolutely gutted. But the Aussies, expect the Aussies to come with their mind games, because there's a statement from Josh Hazelwood that we are going to go a little easy on Scotland. Now, weirder things have happened on the cricket field. We've seen some big teams being slayed by the associate nations. I'm just saying, any result is possible.
Yes, any result is possible. But just imagine if an Indian player had said what some of the Australian players and some of the Australian former players said about their forthcoming game against Scotland. There would be hell to pay. There would be people who would be saying, oh, they're fixing matches, making sure, and particularly from across the border. As it is, before the match against USA, there was a bit of, chatter going on across the border that India will lose to USA to ensure that, Pakistan is out of the tournament. It was the same even that 2 years earlier in Australia, same kind of allegations that happen. India doesn't play cricket like that. India is playing cricket to win because you want to maintain the winning rhythm. It is so important. You stumble once, you look back. You know, why have I stumbled? And that looking back makes you take your focus off from your target. And that's why India will not look to lose any games. They'll want to win every single game getting into the finals.
Look, Hazelwood might have said that in jest, but we've seen Scotland. That first game against England, it was a washout. They got a point. I still remember the scoreboard with the Jofra Archers, with the Mark Woods, with the Adil Rasheeds, and all those bowlers in the English lineup. They weren't able to take a single Scottish wicket.
And 10 overs,
90
right?
runs is what they scored at the end of 10. The DLS target for them was 109.
Yeah.
Most of us were thinking that it should have been a canter for England, but it could have turned the other way.
Yeah, and if it was a shorter game, would have been even tougher. So Scotland was impressive. And yes, you're right. Hazelwood made that comment. It was a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. And if at all they show signs or play in that fashion, Australia, they won't. They'll get a lot of backlash from home as well, because Australia, you know, if you look at the former cricketers and everybody, the culture is about going out there, winning and playing hard. So that's not going to happen. So I think we should be okay.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, India was supposed to be in action against Canada, and the match referee and the umpires, the officials, they've taken the decision of abandoning this game without a ball being bowled, and India now will move towards Barbados to play their first Super 8 fixture against Afghanistan. They've also got Australia in Group 1 along with one more team. We'll await confirmation, but it really looks like it could be Bangladesh. And Group 2 has South Africa, West Indies, the United States of America. What a shot in the arm it is for American cricket. And of course, one of England and Scotland. Sunny, now one of the reasons why this match was abandoned between India and Canada is that the ground is good enough for tomorrow's game, which might not have any effect on the table, or rather the Super 8 fixtures. It's Pakistan taking on Ireland. It's the final game for both these sides, but Pakistan, they would be gutted, Sunny, that they can't make it to the Super 8s, and they had to lose to the United States, and that set them back, and then to lose to India, it was pretty much done for them.
Yes, but they have only themselves to blame because losing to USA, that really shouldn't have happened, whatever excuses you might look at. A team like Pakistan scoring only 159 runs on good pitches. The Dallas pitch is very, very good to bat on. They should have scored maybe 180, and then they would have won the match. So clearly, I think they have only themselves to blame. And I think there certainly will be a post-mortem done as to what happened. Did they get off to a slow start? Did they not? Did their middle order not come to the party? Whatever. Look, you lose to an associate member team, a full member team losing to an associate member team. You have to look at the full member team's mistakes as well. Give credit to the USA team because they played outstanding cricket. They beat Canada, chasing almost 200, and then they leveled the scores with Pakistan. So certainly, I think USA deserves to be in the Super 8. Whether Pakistan deserve not to be there, well, I mean, only the Pakistanis can tell you.
I just want to ask you, sir, about this first leg of the tournament that we have, where you have 5 teams and 2 teams have to go through, and there's always a third team that's lurking there in that group. And because most international teams these days come without a warm-up game, you know, they just come sort of almost raw into the tournament, that can be a tough phase, isn't it? We've seen quite a few major teams fall by the wayside.
Yes, I think you know, you need a couple of warm-up games. Firstly, your body clock has to get adjusted. So you want to come in a few days earlier so your body clock gets adjusted to the time difference. And then, of course, the conditions, you know, the conditions, weather conditions could be different. So to play a warm-up game where you actually know, you get your body into rhythm, you get your muscle memory going again, it's so important. But nowadays, teams prefer not to have these games. Even when India goes to Australia, there's not going to be much of a warm-up situation. But that's the way it is. So we've just got to grin and bear it.
Sunny, I remember before the World Cup got underway, when all the teams were arriving, there was a picture of you and Babar. It was such an endearing picture. And you're right, that pitch in Dallas was one of the better pitches to bat on. But now with Pakistan exiting this tournament before having made it to the Super 8s or the semi-finals, Could it be the end of the road for Babar Azam, the captain?
Look, Pakistan cricket, you can never tell what is going to happen. I mean, he was a captain in 6 months ago in the World Cup. And then he's removed, and Shaheen Shah Afridi comes in for about 2-3 months. They don't have a good tour of New Zealand, and maybe subsequently a couple of matches they don't do well, and again Babar Azam comes back. So in Pakistan cricket, you can never tell. I mean, you know, when you talk about retirement over there, that retirement is just basically a pause in their career.
Taking a break.
Yeah,
It's like
it's just
break.
a pause thing, because they always come back, you know, saying that, you know, Pakistan public loves me and they want me to come back. So that kind of thing happens. So you never take a retirement announcement by a Pakistani too seriously, because we know that it is just a pause, not a retirement. So similarly with Babar Azam,
yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Sunny.
so similarly with the Babar Azam captaincy situation, there's already criticism about his captaincy, about his batting, you know, the strike rate, etc. So, well, you never know what's going to happen.
Sunny, I have one more question, and you know, some of the Pakistani legends, in fact, some of them have been sharing space with you.